Will the New York Jets sign Garrett Wilson and/or Sauce Gardner to a contract extension before the 2025 NFL season kicks off? One Jets insider believes fans should circle a specific date on the calendar that might mark a payday for both Wilson and Gardner. Is that feasible for the Jets as they kick off 2025? We'll talk about that and much more all coming up here on a Monday, Memorial Day edition of NY Flight Jets Talk, joined as always by our great friend Nick Faria. Let's go.
J-E-T-S, Jets, let's go.
Jets wide receiver Wesley Walker. Wesley, how you doing today? ESPN writer Mr. Rich Cimini, Jets reporter for The Athletic, Mr. Zach Rosenblatt, Hall of Famer, and Jets legend, Mr. Marty Lyons.
Your host, Connor Law.
What is going on, everyone? Hello and welcome back here into another edition of NY Flight Jets Talk. Appreciate you all joining us here on this Monday, May 26th, 2025. Smash that like button, hit subscribe on your way into the building. It's completely free and it helps us grow significantly here on the show. Happy Memorial Day. Special thanks to everyone who's currently serving in the military, everyone who has served and gave their lives for the freedom of us Americans to be sitting here, to be able to talk about the Jets and overall all the great things that come out of it. So happy Memorial Day. Thank you to all the soldiers, and prayers up to the families of those who, lost a family member in the armed forces during war. So today's a very, very special day in America. Throw all your questions for us in the chat. Call into the show with the pinned comment. Every $2.99 super chat or gifted membership get you a raffle entry and an opportunity to win a Sauce Gardner signed jersey, Kevin Malai signed mini helmet, Aaron Glenn signed trading card, Jonathan Vilma signed photo, Bart Scott signed photo, free item from our merch store, and a channel emoji. More entries you have, higher chance you have a win. Appreciate you guys as always. But joining me right now, my teammate over at JetsXFactor.com, Jets beat reporter, the great Nick Faria, graces us with his presence. Nick, are you just itching for training camp to get underway?
Getting closer and closer to that date, Connor. Great to be back on.
Appreciate it, Nick. Super happy you are able to be here. And obviously you were at rookie minicamp and you were at OTAs for the Jets. Any player that really stuck out to you, whether it's a rookie, an undrafted free agent who really caught your eye, or any technical improvements you noticed, any press conference quotes? What were your biggest takeaways from OTAs and rookie minicamp?
Well, probably the biggest takeaway, I think, came from John Simpson when he explained the competition, or I guess quasi-competition going on at center between Joe Tippmann and Josh Myers. Wrote a piece about it on Jets X-Factor today, just breaking down the meaning behind what the Jets are trying to do here by making a player like Joe Tippmann, who was a top 10 center in the National Football League last year by Pro Football Focus, compete for a starting role. You normally don't see that happen for a young player like this, entering his third year of his rookie contract, clearly high upside player. Does this mean that the Jets don't feel the same about Tippmann as they once did? That's too hard to tell. It's too early to tell. But at the very least, it's probably one of the bigger takeaways moving forward. The fact that Simpson was talking positively about both Myers and Tippmann, I think, is a very interesting sign to this point. And then, of course, I think if you're looking at younger players and who stepped up, you have to love what you saw from Will McDonald. I thought he was dominant. Rashad Weaver, I thought, also had a couple of great pass rushes. That Jets defensive line was just fantastic in that first OTA session. Now, things are going to be different. It will change throughout the practice schedule because we have an offense here. The team is learning a brand new offense. So there's going to be some miscommunications, some mistakes here and there. But I thought the defensive line was great overall. I continue to like what I see from A.Z. Thomas, from Arian Smith. These are third and fourth round picks that a lot of people had questions about. But for the most part, I look at Arian Smith. He had one particular play where he was running a 20-yard comeback route, and as he turned, he completely left his defender in the dust. He was open for a good 5-10 yards. So if he catches the football consistently, if he continues to play like he has, I think there won't just be a role for him going into the 2025 season. There will be a significant one right next to Garrett Wilson.
Interesting. Do you think, to kind of sum up the article that you wrote for those who didn't catch it on Jets X Factor, do you think there's truly a competition between Josh Myers or Joe Tippmann, or this is just Aaron Glenn stirring up the motto of no one's job is safe and we're pushing competition?
Well, I think the interesting part to that with Aaron Glenn is the fact that he acknowledged that there would be competition at center.
Yep.
But then when you asked him about the competition at quarterback, a position that you would think would have a competition, because you brought in Justin Fields, and Justin Fields has not shown really anything to this point to be a consistent QB1 on any roster. The fact that they are just willing to give Justin Fields the starting job, but making Joe Tippmann someone who has been dependable, who has produced at a pretty high level throughout his NFL career, go through a competition, I thought is very surprising. And one of the reasons why I think they're not doing right by Tippmann at this point. If you feel that he's not the right guy, then what are you doing here? Then get rid of him. And now I would also question, if you don't feel he's the right guy, what are you looking at? Because a Jets team that was as bad as they were last season got Tippmann to play Pro Bowl caliber football. I mean, he was ninth in, what was it, a ninth out of 64 guards, and it's 9 out of 64 centers in the National Football League. That is not just above average. That is a borderline elite football play. So I look at Tippmann. I think his job should be secure at center. Does that mean that the Jets feel that way? It's too early to tell. But it's certainly surprising, at least at this point, why this team is having a competition at a position that seems to be secure over one that, no one really knows what you're going to get at Justin Fields. Are you sure that he is more deserving of a secure track to a starting job than someone like Joe Tippmann? That makes me a little speculative.
Well, two players the Jets do feel very strongly about, as we've heard from Darren Muge and Aaron Glenner, Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson. These are 2 first-round picks in 2022, and their payday is coming up. We heard from ESPN's Rich Cimini that fans should circle June 2nd on the calendar as a potential day for the Jets to make a move and a push to try to extend Wilson and Gardner ahead of the 2025 season, because the fact that Aaron Rodgers and CJ Mosley, 2 post-June 1 designation cuts, the Jets can officially split that salary cap number across 2 years instead of carrying the combined $36.3 million this season. Nick, do you think the Jets get a deal done with Sauce Gardner and or Garrett Wilson ahead of the 2025 season?
Absolutely. And again, I know Joe Douglas, the previous regime, they didn't want to negotiate players before they had to. And that is a massive mistake. It is short-sighted. It is what a lot of bad organizations do in the NFL today. The great ones get deals done before they have to get them done. You pay young players for their future potential, not for their immediate production. And the way I look at it, Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, if you're looking at 2 players to be the pillars of your franchise, you couldn't ask for 2 better guys. Garrett Wilson's a number 1 wide receiver in this league. I don't care what some of our teammates believe at Jets X-Factor. He is a bona fide number 1 wide receiver. He's a top 10 player. And Sauce Gardner is, in my opinion, one of the 3 best cornerbacks in the National Football League, even after a down year last year. So when you get these kinds of players, you do not fool around. You do not play around on contracts. You give them the $30 million a year, and then you move on. And I think the one thing people need to understand is that when I say you give a player $30 million a year, that does not mean that the Jets are going to give them a 4-year deal worth $120 million and it's 30, 30, 30, 30 in cap hits. That's not how this works. The annual average is not what is given to a player. The cap hit is what people need to worry about.
The guaranteed money.
So we also have to remember, they are going to have their 5th-year options accepted. This is around the time where most likely they'll be able to accept it. And when that happens, the Jets
did pick up the 5th-year options already.
Yeah, thank you. So you have all those ready. You have all those done. You can spread that money over to the next 2 seasons that you have to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Then what looks like a 4-year, $120 million deal actually has cap hits from right around $15 to $20 million. That is very manageable. That is extremely manageable for all pro caliber players along the way. So the way I look at it, the Jets would be smart to get a deal done immediately. I agree with Rich Cimini. I think that these deals are going to get done, whether it's during the dead period of the offseason, that's kind of when they agreed to terms with Quinnen Williams a couple of years ago, or immediately during OTAs and mandatory minicamp. It's going to get done. It's just a question of when.
Nick, did you see the message from one of our colleagues who will remain unnamed in the Jets X-Factor chat, suggesting that the team should move on from wide receiver Malachi Corley ahead of the 2025 season?
All right. So this is the hard part, because I have always been someone who has been emphatic with the development of players. And you cannot determine if a player is good after one season. You can't determine if a player is good after 2 years.
Especially when the coaching is as inept as it was last year.
Not just inept, but the instability is there. He's now, in the case of Malachi Corley, he's got his second different receiving coach. He's got his second different head coach, different offensive coordinator, play caller, scheme. That's really hard to figure out. Not everyone can be like Baker Mayfield or Jalen Hurts, who just rotate in play callers left and right and can still play at a high level. That's not normal for anyone. That's not an essence of stability. So I look at Malachi Corley and I see a player with clear upside, a guy who can, when you touch the football, he can be dangerous. You saw a little bit of it last year. But this is a new regime. And the new regime does not have to pigeonhole themselves into players that are already on the team that they do not believe in. If the Detroit Lions did not have a draftable grade on Malachi Corley, what exactly is Tanner Angstrand going to do with a player like this that he doesn't really trust? Arian Smith was drafted this year in the 4th round. Malachi Corley was in the 3rd round last year. This current regime was a group that drafted Arian Smith. So if this is a battle between Smith and Corley, then you have to give the battle to Smith because he was the draft pick by this current regime. So this isn't to say that the Jets should move on from anybody. I think we're too early in the process to make that distinction. You know, once the pads come on, Arian Smith might lose his speed. He might struggle a lot catching the football. We don't know. But as things stand right now, there is a very difficult path for Malachi Corley to make this roster because you feel like they want to keep the veteran guys, the Tyler Johnson, the Josh Reynolds, Alan Lazard. You want to have those veteran guys in the group. So if that's the case, he's competing with Xavier Gipson and Arian Smith. Well, the only one that really has any leeway to making the roster is Arian Smith. All the others are cut candidates, and that includes Malachi Corley.
Interesting. Now, let's say Corley catches us by surprise, because the fan base right now is very low on Corley, rightfully so after what we saw. I wrote an article about this for Jets X-Factor. I think there's a path where Malachi Corley can come in and have a lot of success on this football team. Tanner Angstrand and the Detroit Lions used a lot of motion last year. The Jets didn't. I think that's the blueprint for getting Malachi Corley, getting him and Malachi Moore mixed up. I think the key there is getting him in motion, getting him the ball in space, gadget type plays, and allowing him to, utilize his nickname truly, which is the Yak King. Let's say he catches us by surprise. He has a great summer. Is there a path for him to be the wide receiver 2 on this team come week 1?
Of course. And I think the Jets would love that if that would be the case. If Corley or Arian Smith step up and show that they can be a wide receiver 2, this franchise would be ecstatic. It would change a lot because they wouldn't have to worry about maybe acquiring a wide receiver next offseason or trading for one at the deadline if they're competitive. They wouldn't have to worry about this. So, yes, it's extremely important. Whether it's Corley, whether it's Smith, whether it's Lazard, doesn't really matter. Someone needs to step up as wide receiver 2 on this roster. And if it's Corley or Smith, that is just a perfect situation for the Jets to have.
Appreciate you tuning in. Smash that like button. Hit subscribe. Nick Faria, Connor Long here with you on a Monday edition of NY Flight Jets Talk. Appreciate all of your support as always. Keep the questions coming. We'll get to those. You can call into the show with the pinned comment at the top of the chat. Nick, my friend, appreciate you sparing some time for us, as always, like you do every single Monday evening here on the program. You got any final thoughts here before we let you go?
Yeah, we got a second round of OTAs. It's going to be very exciting. It's going to be interesting to see what happens at the facility, if Aaron Glenn's going to comment on what the current situation is at center. But for the most part, I truly believe that this team is going to be a lot better than many prognosticators are talking about. As long as Justin Fields produces at an average level, I think this team can be a lot better than most are talking about. And a big part of that is because this coaching staff is significantly more buttoned up, in my opinion, than the previous regime.
Nick, appreciate it, my friend. Have a great night.
See you, man. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nick Faria, JetsXFactor.com, Athlon Sports. Shoot him a follow at Nick_Faria1720 on Twitter. Does a great job covering the Jets. He joins us every single Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on the show. Appreciate you all sticking with us here on this Memorial Day. You got any questions for me? Got any thoughts? Throw those in the chat and call into the show with the pin comment. 2025 season might seem, a little while from now as we sit here on May 26th, but it's going to come quickly. And we are organizing a Next Gen Jets game meetup with the Next Gen Jets crew and I for the 2025 season. Just threw that link in the chat. Please fill out, I'm going to pin it right now. Please fill out our game meetup form. Next Gen Jets crew and I organizing a pregame tailgate, a group buy for the game. Right now, the front runners week 2 against Buffalo. We just don't have any dates finalized. We don't have anything finalized. But right now, week 2 against Buffalo is the favorite. So please hop over there. Hop off here quickly. Hop over on that link and fill out the Next Gen Jets game meetup form. Really trying to get everyone together. Hoping to meet all you guys. Keep hoping to meet all the listeners. So please, please, please click the pinned comment at the top of the chat and fill out our Next Gen Jets game meetup form, folks. We appreciate all of your support as always. And hopefully we see you at the game again. Pinned comment at the top of the chat. Hop over there right now. I'll throw it in the chat again and fill out our Next Gen Jets game meetup form completely free. Just trying to gauge a head count before I officially speak to the Jets. So please click that link and fill out the questions and intels once you do get into the Google Sheets. We appreciate all of your support as always here on this program. Like I said, hoping to get everyone together for a game this season. Let's go over to the phone lines. First up on today's show, Beast.
Buenos noches, amigo. How you feeling?
Can't complain, Beast. That was Memorial Day.
Not too bad. Can't complain. Had some good grub on the grill and had a little tough time with the grill. I was like, what's going on here? And I found out, I was like, okay, something wasn't right. So did a clean out on the grill, took all the garbage off of there, and then checked the gas. And then luckily I had one of those little starter fluids that you get from Dollar Tree. You put one of them on, boom, bam. Not talking. Nope. Ignore. I'm just gonna keep on going. So, like I said, I'm not gonna listen to some loser like that because I'm the pimp and he's the gimp. So Mr. Connor, so what you do all day today, there, kid?
I was upstate New York. I was in upstate New York, so drove back from upstate New York. I was there for the extended weekend.
So what grub did you get?
What did I have? What was I gonna say? What did we get? We got Shake Shack at a rest stop today. That's what we got.
Shake Shack. I've heard about Shake Shack. I'm like, never heard of it. I'm like, I've heard of Culver's. Have you ever tried Culver's?
No. Beast, you got any jet points though?
Well, there is several that we do need to go. Well, June 1st is rapidly approaching around the corner. If my calculations are correct, we need to go out in the market and spend some more money because Aaron Glenn is going to sit down and you know what he's going to do. He's not a bullshit artist. He's going to take it. He's going to tell him like it is. He's going to tell him, okay, here's what we'll do. We'll pull another 400 out. But here's the thing: we got to get the guys we want for work. And whoever's going to come here, we got to sign them. We're going to sign them a nice check like this. It's called you guys fill in the amount. But here's the thing: you're not going to get the full amount. Not every week. Not like that. You're going to get at least $500-600 a week. That should be fair. I think it's fair for everybody. Since
Beast, have a great night. Appreciate you.
All right. And as they say, Connor, hey, shop smart, shop S-smart. Later.
Gentlemen, Beast Breaker checking in here with us on the program. Beast, appreciate your support. Appreciate you calling in. If you guys want to call in, you could do so with the pinned comment at the top of the chat. If you want to get your thoughts out there, though, and you don't want to call in, you could throw those in the chat. We're going to get to those as well. Again, pinned comment. There's a comment in the chat to call in. And then pin comment to please fill out the Next Gen Jets game meetup form. So if you haven't already, please go over there and fill out the game meetup form. Again, call into the show with the pin comment. Throw all your thoughts and comments in the chat for us. We're gonna get to those. We'll do we've been on here for 20 minutes. We'll try to do at least 35 minutes. So the rest of the show now is up to you guys. It's an open Q&A. So Q&A time, folks. Throw all your questions in the chat and fill out the Next Gen Jets game meetup form with the pinned comment. Throw all the questions in. That'll be the style we follow for the remainder of today's program. Because, again, I've said it about 20 times over the past 2 shows. May football, not much to talk about. We covered the news today. It was a great report from Rich Samini, who made a great point circling June 2nd as a date the Jets could potentially look to Jets could potentially look to extend Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson. It opens up more cap room for the Jets. That's something to look out for. So great nugget by Rich Samini. And hey, I think Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner are legit football players. And I thought Nick made a great point. I think I think the Jets should get these deals out of the way. I think these are guys who could be a part of the future. Nick made a great point saying you pay guys for what they can be. I think Garrett Wilson can be a top 10 receiver. I don't think he is right now. I think he'd be a top 10. I think he'd be a top 5 NFL receiver. And I think right now Sauce Gardner is the top 3 NFL cornerback with the ceiling of being the best in football. I think you pay those guys as soon as possible. Jojo says, did Nick mention anything about the camera on Fields' helmet? That's something that the Jets have never done before. Nick did not mention that, Jojo. Matthew says, didn't Nick mention the Eagles at all during his segment? He did not mention the Eagles at all, Matthew Smith. Did not mention the Eagles on his during his spot with us. Let's see. Where are we? Here in the chat, Crispy. We'll say what's up to everyone. Crispy, see you, my friend. Appreciate all your support. You're the best. Hope you had a great Memorial Day. Appreciate you tuning in with us as always. DTN, happy Memorial Day, Jets brothers. Appreciate you, DTN. Likewise to you, my friend. Appreciate you. John in the chat. John, what's going on? Brother, great to see you. As always, Dino in the building. Dino, good to see you. Jojo, what's going on? See all you guys here. Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Daniel, it's great to see you. Little Joey in the building. Little Joey, great to see you. We see Oscar in the chat. Oscar, great to see you, my friend. Appreciate you all making us a part of your schedule. Appreciate it. Eddie in the building. Eddie, appreciate you. We're going to wrap up here soon, so appreciate all of your support. Appreciate all of your support as always. So again, get your final thoughts in here in the chat before we do wrap up. Joe just is kind of what a mini camp practice dates. A mandatory mini camp for the Jets will be held June 10th through June 12th. I read this the other day. Shout out to the Jets. They're always pumping out that info early. So much appreciated whenever they put that out. So June 10th through June 12th for the Jets mini camp dates for this season. Then training camp picks up in July. And once players report for training camp, full head of steam. Full head of steam. The day players report to training camp, then that's when it becomes a nonstop push through the season. That's when it really, really begins to take off. And that's the next time we're really going to be able to have meaningful content every single day that like really affects the team. Because at this point, it's just a bunch of dead period rumors. Sometimes lack thereof. Great question, Jojo. Jets minicamp dates, mandatory minicamp, June 10th through 12th. We don't have Aaron Rodgers to schedule an ayahuasca retreat or a trip to Egypt, whatever it is, during minicamp this year, which will be great. But we appreciate you all tuning in. Smash that like button, folks. Hit subscribe. That'll do it for me here on this Monday, Memorial Day evening. Have a great rest of your Memorial Day, everyone. As always, I am your host, Connor Long, signing off here on NY Flight Jets Talk.